Thank you for joining us on Salt and Pepper Unleashed. This ain't your grandma's nursing home. The Greenwood Village South Living Tree Legacy was established in 1987, and its mission is to promote an environment that enhances continued growth, independence, and a lifestyle honoring the individuality and diverse nature of the Greenwood Village South community. And today I'm pleased to be joined by Greenwood Village South board members Linda Gibson, Jeff Colvin, as well as GVS resident Donna Wilson. And these guests represent 3 of the 10-person committee that makes up the Living Tree Legacy Committee. So to you 3, welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here today. So a legacy, let's talk about what a legacy is. A legacy, kind of the defined term is the long-lasting impact of a person's life and is the influence we continue to have after we are taken from this earth. Cultivating a meaningful and durable legacy that will impact others years after our passing doesn't happen by accident. It requires intentional planning and action. Living Tree Legacy is truly a beautiful way to create a lasting legacy which will provide meaningful and enjoyable opportunities and make a difference in the lives of the senior population here at GVS. So a legacy, like we said, it's intentional. There are very few people in this world, I believe, that leave a legacy by happenstance or by accident. It's because they're intentional about who they are and what they do to better the lives of mostly people around them and people that they may not even know yet. So, the Living Tree Legacy, we encourage charitable giving, and we've historically invested in small to medium-sized capital improvements and projects across the campus. So I'm curious, what are some of the projects that GVS residents and families have benefited from as a result of these charitable contributions?
Well, one of them for me is one I didn't know about until I came here to decide whether I wanted to become a resident. And that was the library.
Yes, the library.
Because when I walked down that hall and saw the library, that gave me a message far more than available books. It gave me a message about what Greenwood Village was willing to provide through the legacy investments.
Absolutely, and I would tell you what. So first and foremost, the library. You want to talk about a hub of activity. It doesn't hurt that the coffee station is right outside the library and right next to the lobby. So, but whether people are coming to socialize, volunteer, check out books, read the newspaper, there is always activity going on in the library. But what's interesting, I doubt any of you know this, the library was my first project when I started as executive director in 2019. And so the goal was to revitalize the library and not much in terms of structural improvements, much more aesthetic improvements as well as a lot of the furniture, bookcases, things like that. But it was a complete transformation. Well worth the time and investment, and was a great first experience for me as a project, kind of leading the committee at that time. What else? What other projects are you aware of that we've
The first one that I remember being a board member are the park benches out at the southwest corner of the Arms. And I think something else that has been very good for us, and that's the dog park, because at one time, I was on an elevator with 2 ladies that were touring, and they asked about our pet policy, and we told them we didn't allow them, and they were off the elevator and out the door. And I think the dog park is great, especially for people that have lost their pets and they've moved here without their pets. I think it's also a great plus for people that maybe are living in the manor and they're still somewhat mobile and they can come over and enjoy the animals as well. And it gives the animals a place to run and play.
Absolutely. So 2 things there. That first one, you said that the benches, out front. That's project was, I think, became fondly known as the conversation area. And so a great area for people to just kind of congregate and engage and interact with each other. But the dog park, now that's one that I find remarkable in a couple of different ways. One, I challenge you to find a senior living community with a nicer actual dog park than Greenwood Village South's. There are so many communities that I have visited that claim to have a dog park when in reality, they've got a long stretch of grass that's fenced in.
And that's it.
And that's it. That is it. So you can come and let your dog off the leash and let it run back and forth, but that's literally it. What we did is we took a courtyard that was virtually unutilized and transformed it into this beautiful dog park with lush green grass and shrubbery around the outside. But what's amazing about it is the first floor looks down over top of the dog park. And so this has brought the two sides of the fence together. The I love dogs and want to be engaged with them any way I can, and dogs are fine, but I don't want them around me. Well, I tell you what, you see dogs playing, if it doesn't bring you joy, there's something wrong with you. And so even if you don't want those dogs around you, you can be in the lobby of our first floor and look down over this gorgeous courtyard and see those types of interactions and just kind of feel that engagement, enrich your being. And so I think that is one that I think surprised me in terms of how successful it was in terms of the support that we ended up getting from it, as well as the engagement that we've seen from it from both sides of that. So
The same visual benefit that you're talking about with the dog park is true with the North Courtyard. Because, yes, you can go out there and sit in the gazebo and read or listen to music. But for those of us who live around the courtyard, I kind of believe what you see outside your window nourishes your soul.
absolutely.
And that's what the North Courtyard has done.
Yeah, the North Courtyard is, at this point, arguably the nicest courtyard of the four in the main building here on campus. Very large, luscious, mature plantings, walking paths, lit walking paths, the gazebo, planters, water features. I mean, it kind of has it all, and it's a gorgeous space. And then you add in the birds and the squirrels, and by the way, I have never seen a skinny bird or squirrel on GVS campus. Do you know why that is?
They're fed
They're
very
fed
well.
very well. And so what's ironic is the residents say, you need to get rid of the geese. And then they go feed the geese. And I'm like, well, you got to stop doing that. I'm like, don't feed the animals. So very good.
What's amazing, I think, with any retirement community, if you look at retirement communities in general, and we talk about legacy, you mentioned legacy at the very get-go. Most retirement communities, and I'm a builder, they're built and then pretty much put on autopilot, and they run themselves, and they really don't do anything to them. And what I think is truly amazing about this facility is we're looking at things from a legacy viewpoint, and we're continually adding to and changing, any kind of facility or even the feel of the place. Something as simple as a dog park, and a lot of thought and process went into that, of which I was thankful to be part of that, and then the future projects that we'll be working on. But I think it's truly amazing that this community is very dynamic, in that we recognize that you can't just build something and walk away. We've got to keep it interesting, keep it changed, keep it alive, basically,
Yeah.
and keep people involved in what we're doing. And this group in particular, the Living Tree Legacy Group, has done a fantastic job from what I can tell. I've only been on there, a year, maybe a little bit more than a year, but the projects that have been done and projects that we're currently planning, and then projects that we have, way out that we're kind of maybe thinking about. That's the dynamic that keeps everything alive and fresh.
But that's one of the unique things about our committee, I think,
Yeah.
because it is a collaborative group. One person presents a seed and others immediately do more planting. No one comes with an agenda. The focus is totally on what helps the future of GVS, and I think that's a unique committee.
I agree, 100%.
Well, the fact that the committee is comprised of board members, residents, and administration staff, I think is something that's unique in and of itself, because you're bringing multiple perspectives to the table. And I feel strongly that any time that you can have an idea brought to the table with a group of people that have created a psychologically safe relationship, you can start to hone and chip and mold that idea. And I'm a firm believer that the more perspectives that you have, the better the final outcome of that's going to be. And I think we've seen that time and time again with multiple projects that we've seen. Jeff, you said a couple things, and then I do want to go back to the dog park just one more time. but you mentioned, you can't just build it and leave it. And that is so true with senior living communities in general. You've got to continue to look at the needs and the interests of the residents. So you have the residents today, but then you also have the residents of tomorrow. And, here we are, Greenwood Village South, 63 years. Well, if we're going to be around for another 63 years, you better believe we need to be thinking about those things. But the other concept of that I want to hit on that kind of sparked a thought in my mind is, the saying, if you build it, they will come. No, they won't. They will not. They will not come. I've learned that time and time again. So what I've learned for anything to be successful, you have to build it, you have to program it, and you have to staff it. And if you can do all three of those things, it is remarkable. And some projects may not be designed to or intended to need all three of those. It may be more of a passive opportunity. But I look at the Village Green and, we built it and we've also programmed it and we've also staffed it. And we've had events out there of 50 to 100 people. And those are some lively events. And so very cool. The comment on the dog park is, and you kind of alluded to this, Linda, is we talk about the concept of pet friendly. I realized a couple years ago that there's a difference between pet acceptance and pet friendly. Having a pet policy that allows pets is kind of a superficial marketing ploy at best. Having a community that invests thousands, tens of thousands of dollars into creating resources that engage pets, their owners, and others, that's what pet friendly is all about. And I think that's a big differentiator from Greenwood Village South and other communities is, one, not only do we have the best dog park, and I challenge anyone, right? But we live that culture of the pet friendliness versus just the acceptance or allowance.
I think one other thing about the Living Tree Legacy is the projects that we do, and the dog park is a big part of one aspect of that, is that helps us to attract the baby boomers and those that are coming in. And the baby boomers are wanting more current concepts in their living area. They want more current amenities than, the ladies don't want to knit and do those things anymore, and the pickleball and all of those things. So as we are developing different areas, we're not only improving the area for our current residents, but we're also adding features for our new residents yet to come. And when we built the new homes, the cottages, some of the early cottages and some of the arms people, they said, what about us? And they also kind of said that with the village green. And I think it's proving to them that we're also interested in keeping a 60-year-old building looking prime. And we're also doing things to improve their quality of life.
Absolutely.
And the amenities that they have. So I think the Living Tree Legacy does so many things with or for us as a community.
Yeah.
And with a broad focus.
Yes.
It's directed not to a singular group. It's developed for all tastes and interests and appreciations.
And that's very intentional, and it's become very intentional in the last couple of years. And I think that's something that we've kind of hammered out around the conference table in our committee meetings, is just the intentionality of not being duplicative in our efforts and being diverse in terms of what types of projects we undertake and programs we offer, et cetera. So I think that's great. And Linda, something else too is, when we take on a new project and we bring in or we build a new amenity or feature of any kind, there is the potential that we're drawing in that future resident. But something else that I've seen happen time and time again, which I love, is the residents that do knit. They say, hey, that looks interesting. I want to try that. I didn't think I wanted to try that, but that looks fun. That looks engaging. And then they try it and they say, knitting's okay, but man, pickleball is a blast. and so just, the intention is to open this opportunity for all residents and future residents at Greenwood Village South.
Well, and I think something else that is happening, we're seeing that the new cottages and the old cottages, they're coming in and they're getting better acquainted with the arms people. The arms people are going to the village green and they're getting better acquainted with the cottage people.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a big improvement as well. We're getting them together to feel like they're one family instead of three individual families.
It's not designed for individual communities. It's designed for a community.
Yeah.
But you have to do something that begins to give them an area to pull together, and I think that we've done that.
And I think too, when you look at the independent living apartments, and then the original cottages built in the 70s, 80s, even early 90s, I believe, and then the newer cottages that were just built 4 years ago, you're looking at potentially three distinct groups of individuals and interests and amenities, et cetera. And I remember when I got here almost 6 years ago, when we were planning this most recent cottage expansion, that was one of the things that was concerning to me, is creating this disconnect. And so my strategy, GVS's strategy, the board's strategy, the Living Tree Legacy Committee's strategy, very openly and intentionally has been to break down those silos and ensure that every square foot of this 64-acre campus is the backyard of every one of our 470-plus residents. And I think we've made phenomenal progress on that with plans to improve even more. So
And when we
it's
did
a big backyard.
when we did the first or when we started the new cottages, and then COVID hit so quickly, and to me as a board member, that was very frightening. And we were giving it 3 years maybe to be able to have everything sold, and it sold so quickly. And we don't want to follow the leader of these new communities that have so many nice things in their property, and you can tell their property is newer, but we want to be the leader. And I think that we're showing that we have a good foundation under us, and our residents are great.
Absolutely.
There are no barriers that we've set up to make this a community.
That's true. That's true. There are none that we have created, but we sure are trying to break down any that exist that are perceived, because there's no real ones. We know that for sure.
And many of the people that come in, they talk about how friendly our residents are, or when we do the review of the homes, and they're able to, the public is able to go in and see how different homes have been done or apartments have been done. And so I think that we have to also look at our residents as being a core of our success. So that's why the amenities that we're adding are also very important.
Absolutely.
But as one of those residents, I think there's a natural tendency whenever we know that something is a really good deal, we tell others.
Yes, we do.
And it's not something that's contrived, it's just natural.
You want to share. You want to share that good news. You want others to take advantage of that opportunity.
I think you can see it every day. Every day that I come in here, I see it in the residents. They're very friendly. I'm greeted with smiles and sometimes with complaints. But, that's okay. That's how we learn. But not only the residents, but the staff. The staff goes out of their way to make everybody feel, part of a family and accommodated, and your needs are met. And it's just a smooth transition, basically.
Yeah.
You think about, my own mother told me, she said, I don't want to go to a nursing home. I don't want to go to a nursing home. And in her mind, she had this institutional viewpoint of what an actual nursing home is. And
that's
said,
why?
This is not a nursing home. This
No.
is not. This is a retirement community. It's a way of life. It's a living, breathing entity, and it's something that we've got to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's what we do through this legacy project, is doing these legacy projects, is keep it living, keep it current. And, we have 470 people. We have probably well over 470 opinions on what should be built or not built. And that's where we kind of go through the process of, determining what we can do and, what impact that'll have on the community.
And Jeff, what you're saying there, when I came on the board in 2009, I was a little apprehensive what I was getting into. And I immediately was accepted by the residents. And in seeing how the residents interact with each other, and the love there is, and the concern when someone's not feeling well or something's happened, is one of the reasons that I've made the decision that I'm going to move here, and I've put a deposit down. I can't come for 3 years because of other obligations. But I think that once you're around this, you have no doubt but what it's a very safe place. And I'm tired of living by myself and the loneliness. That doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
Well, to reiterate what you say about the friendliness of the residents, the first night I was here, someone knocked on my door and said, I'm so-and-so. Bingo starts at 6:30. Be down there by 6:15 and bring 2 quarters. Now, it's just like, how do you resist that?
You didn't have a choice, did you?
I did not.
Anyone that's not engaged, it's their fault.
They choose it.
And it's intentional. And to some, that's their preference, and that's okay. But we can kind of foster any preference here with that. Jeff, I want to go back to you. I want to let you know the only reason that you ever would receive a complaint when you walk in is because in the resident directory, we have also the board members listed, and we have you and your picture as the complaint officer.
That's right.
And so all complaints go to Jeff, and
Good.
that's why you get those. So I'm
Fantastic.
surprised you don't get more of those.
Right.
But this ain't your grandma's nursing home. That's what you said, and that's our tagline on Salt and Pepper Unleashed. This ain't your grandma's nursing home. And time and time again, we fight the lay perception of what a nursing home is. Right. This is not a nursing home. This is not a facility. This is a community. And we have residents in their 60s. We have residents in their hundreds. And those residents engage and interact with each other. And that's what is so phenomenal about this place. You're literally looking at multiple generations.
Right.
So what about the next Living Tree Legacy project that we have that we've been discussing now for the last couple months? And anyone want to kind of throw out some hints as to what we're looking at?
We're looking at the South Courtyard, and it's an area that really hasn't been touched in quite some time. So we're in the early processes of determining exactly what we want to do there. And, as a committee, we've looked at several different options. We've surveyed the residents about, what would they like to see, what would they use, what would they like to see other people use, because you have passive and active user groups on just about everything we have. For example, the dog park.
Yeah.
So we've carefully weighed all of those options and are narrowing that down. And I think we're ready for our next step, which is start the construction process. So we're looking at several different amenities, and I don't know if you want to weigh in on a few things.
Well, I think one of the things it does, it creates an excitement because we on the North Courtyard understand how beneficial this is to nourish us. And we're eager for the South Courtyard to experience not exactly the same format in the park, but the fact that it's there to enjoy for them in ways that they choose.
Right.
Something that, we hit on this earlier about just having the different perspectives of GVS administration members, residents, board members. Something unique to this project that we're getting ready to take on here in the spring is that we sent out surveys for feedback and specific questions, but also open-ended questions. And anytime you do that, you mentioned this, you've got 470. We're never in need of more opinions, that's for sure. What I find interesting sometimes too is you ask for feedback and you get, this is what I want, but then you also get, this is what I don't want. Like, even though that's not an option, I just want to let you know I don't want that. Right. And so we got some of that. And so we got some, I wouldn't say clear direction of scope, but I think we got some really good guardrails that we've utilized over the last several months to kind of hone in on, what I think we've, somewhat coined the South Courtyard Activity Oasis. And to your point, Jeff, some of that is true active engagement, while much of it could still be passive engagement that is this activity. Raised planter gardens, that's a great opportunity to be active, but not really, physically engaged in a competitive sport of kinds. But if you want that, the pickleball court will be an amazing opportunity for residents to enjoy, and then mix, the other side of the courtyard with a nice seating area and a water feature for a little tranquil break. I think that's really mixing all of the different wants, needs, and desires to create opportunities for quite literally everybody. You also mentioned this, the South Courtyard, virtually untouched. It sparked when we look at many of our most recent projects, we have taken virtually unutilized areas and improved them to create attractive amenities that promote engagement. That's literally, when you look at the Village Green, the space wasn't utilized. It was just green grass that wasn't utilized. And now I was looking at my notes. We've hosted a prom under the stars. We had an outdoor concert series. We've hosted teaching kitchens. We had a harvest party. I mean, to think about a space that was just not utilized, to go to that, then the dog park, which was a small courtyard that I would say in a year's time, maybe 4 or 5 people, other than the landscape crew, would ever enter that courtyard. And now how that's changed. And then the north courtyard is amazing as it was with the kind of the mature trees and plantings. Now there's more of a draw, not to only visually engage, but to physically engage with that courtyard and enter it and interact with its features and others that are enjoying that as well. So,
Well, you can add to your list even a wedding.
a wedding in the village at the Village Green, yes, impromptu wedding that was from the pictures I can see pretty magical. So that's
You weren't the wedding singer at that?
I was not.
That's
So
the rumor
that's
that I had heard.
good.
Yeah.
I was 27th on the list, and they didn't get all the way down. Someone said yes before they got to me, and I think that was probably the best wedding present I could have given them. And then that event in and of itself could be a podcast at some point in the future. We may have to ask them if they'd tell that story.
Well, something else that we haven't talked about, and that's the support that we get from the residents on these types of projects. And, you know, with the dog park, residents could make a donation to go towards the dog park. Even back in the day when they did the benches, that was true. We did that with the Village Green, and we had a lot of people that took part in that. They can do that in a number of ways. They can decide and give a certain amount monthly, and that is part of their monthly fee, but they can change that at any time. They can do something in memory of someone, or in memory of a certain, or not in memory, but celebration of a certain event. There's many ways that they can give, and they're showing their acceptance of what we're doing by giving.
Well, what intrigues me when you talk about that process is you have people who immediately resist the first idea and how they transition to, oh, I want to give to that.
Yeah.
That's an important process.
It is, and you know, something I've found, and I think the dog park was the most profound. You have to connect with people. You have to connect with what their interests are, and when you're able to do that, people become very generous because they want that to be successful. Additionally, if it's something that maybe a deceased loved one was just wildly interested in, that may be an opportunity that folks say, I really want to give to this in honor of my loved one, because that's the legacy that they would want for themselves, because they brought so much joy to others engaging in this, and they want that to kind of live on. And there's so many opportunities for people to truly leave that legacy. And, you know, obviously you've got just individual contributions of monetary gifts, but Linda, you also mentioned we have an opportunity for our residents that they can say, I want to be a monthly contributor. And whether that's $1, $100, we've literally seen the full range. It's up to them, and we make it easy for them to where it's literally just added to their monthly statement, and they don't have to do anything about it. And any point in time, they can change that. But though each month that giving is aggregated to their total in terms of the recognition levels.
I think there's also an awareness that we enjoy and have enjoyed many things that people behind us have done for us. How can we do less and not doing things for those who are coming after us?
There's a quote. One of you may know this. I know I'm going to butcher it, but it talks about when you plant a tree, you're providing shade for someone that you'll never know.
Right.
And I know I butchered that tremendously, and I can't recall
It's from a book.
the individual. I'm sure it's from a book, absolutely. but that's the case of this. You know, when we talk to residents that may be hesitant to concepts, you say, well, hey, do you enjoy X, Y, and Z? And, well, yeah, I do. Well, guess what? Someone made that possible for you, and they're not here anymore. But they wanted you to have that opportunity. And when you open people's minds to that concept and really kind of remind them that everything is here because of people before you, I think it kind of eases people's minds and makes them a little more apt to give and participate in leaving a legacy of their own. You know, we've talked a lot about projects and some of the ways to give. You know, there's kind of the superficial benefit of giving, and that's the tax deductibility of it. Very superficial. Really, the purpose people give is to leave that legacy. That's really what we're in this for. And so, with that, I want to ask each of you, kind of one of our. This is our kind of one of our favorite questions, our signature question, and the question is: if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be and why? Who wants to take the first step?
All right.
All right, Donna.
I would like to be known as somebody who serves purposefully and usefully, because I do believe to whom much is given, much is required.
Absolutely. A humorous, what is it? Will you do good or evil? And it's you're giving all the blessings of whether it's ability or financial capacity, and there is an expectation of people that are blessed with whatever gifts or abundance of whatever it is, that there's an expectation of creating a better world for everyone else. And Donna, I will say, based off the legacy that you want to live or that you want to leave, I feel like you're doing a pretty good job so far. So keep it up.
Thank you. It's I didn't come here to just sit around.
And you haven't. You've been wildly engaged, and I love it. Linda, what about you?
Well, one of the reasons that I won't be coming here for 3 years is because I'm on the council and you're in a different district. But I want to be remembered as always extending a helping hand and a smile. Life's too short for each of us to make someone else feel important and making life a little easier.
Mm-hmm. All good words to live by. That kind of encompasses the golden rule in and of itself right there. And I think we're 2 for 2. I would say that you're well on your way to achieving that as well. I have a feeling we're not going to bat 1,000 today because I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Classic.
Jeff, what about you?
It is a loaded question.
It is.
It is a loaded
One
question.
thing.
I can go everywhere or anywhere with this.
Well,
thing,
let's remember what the intention of the podcast is.
Exactly. I'll keep remembering. Try to remember that. What's my legacy? What do I want to be remembered by? I've really not given much thought about that, to be quite honest. I try to live each day the way God intended you to live, and nobody's perfect, and I'm far from it. But I hope that, I guess, if I look at it and look at my kids, grandkids, and friends, and people, that they'll look back and say, you know what, he did did pretty well for himself and others. I try to be giving and volunteer my time for different organizations and try to do what's right for the community. I still serve the community as much as Linda also serves the community. And, I just try to treat people with respect and hopefully that will be the memory. Maybe leave something that will stand the test of time. I guess everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to be, live forever. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But, I want to live a good life, and I think that's the important part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
Get a little scotch along the way probably doesn't hurt anything. I think.
you beat me to it, Jeff, because I was thinking about saying it and then I wasn't going to say it. And this is actually truly a compliment. One of the things that I think you'll be remembered for, one of many, all being positive, but one is your sense of humor. I have never engaged with you where you are not fully equipped with a very sharp sense of humor. Your timing is on point. The content and context is always great, and so that's one of those things that I think you'll be remembered for. And to me, that is a tremendous compliment because I hold a sense of humor to high regard. Anytime that you can bring levity to a situation, I think it positively impacts folks in a lot of the ways that we talked about.
Right.
So, all right, with that, we're going to do something a little different here. Okay, we've not done this before, but with the four of us here, that we got an opportunity. So we're gonna say this together. I'm gonna say Salt and Pepper Unleashed, and then we're all gonna say, "This ain't your grandma's nursing home." Okay, are you ready?
Okay.
Salt and Pepper Unleashed. This ain't your grandma's nursing home.